Yeah, so I'm in my 4th season in Japan now. I've just moved to a team called Fijian Voltex. They're in Div 2 in the Japanese league. So the last 3 seasons I've been at Toshiba, Brave Lupus. So they were in the Div 1, so I've come down a division, but it's exciting because the team wants to go up to the Div 1, so hopefully I can be the inspiration behind that. But yeah, it's been a great life in Japan so far. I've really enjoyed it. It's very different after 5 years in France, but I'm loving my time there. My family's really happy, enjoying a new way of life, and our new place is right by the beach, so it's kind of like the Gold Coast where we are now. So yeah, basically my professional rugby career started, I played for Canterbury, which is my hometown in Christchurch, and then the Crusaders for 4 seasons. And then during that time I made the All Blacks, played 3 tests for the All Blacks. But then when I was 26, I made the move to go to France. I played for Toulon for 1 season, and then I moved to Po, a team called Section Paloise, for 4 seasons. And now I've moved to Japan, Toshiba Brave Lupus, for 3 seasons, and I'm now maybe my final move to Kyuden. So yeah, it's a few teams now. Yeah, I've been fortunate to play with a lot of really amazing players. Probably the number one would be Dan Carter. He was always a guy that I looked up to growing up. He was the guy I wanted to watch. And then I was lucky enough to sort of find myself playing alongside him, learning with him at training, asking him a million questions about the game. But then in the game, he was just so relaxed, and he loved the big moments and matches. So he was one guy I just loved playing alongside. And then when I went to France, there was there's a lot of talent that I didn't even know existed. I was playing with some really young Fijian guys. There's a guy called Joshua Tuisova, and he just was the quietest guy, but he was just a ball of muscle. He's still playing now for Fiji and in France. I remember thinking he's just the most athletic person I've ever seen. On a field, he just can destroy people on attack. It was almost just amazing to watch someone with that athleticism playing the game, and I was just glad that he was on my team, to be honest. And then now some other players, but I suppose I really respected Richie McCaw when I was playing with him at the Crusaders. He was a great leader. He didn't speak a lot, but when he spoke, I remember I was just listening to everything he said, and he kind of just played the game with his by his actions. You just followed him. He was a tough guy. As I say, didn't say much, but he's a guy you followed on the field, and he just had an aura about him. He was Richie McCaw. So I really enjoyed especially when I was a young player. I saw guys like that. They were the pinnacle of the sport. So following them, I was like, this is pretty cool. That's a hard one. Yeah, it's hard to put names to that list, but I found playing the South African teams, there's a lot of South African players that were just so tough. In rugby, the idea is to sort of find space, and especially in the backs, we want to find space. We don't really want to run at people, but South Africans just want to run at you. And I found especially me defending at 10, often there'd be these huge flankers, forwards coming around the corner, getting the ball, and they would just look at you and find you and run at you, and it was kind of I have to just get in the way of this. And that the impact's going to be massive, but you have to just try your best. And I remember being in France or playing Super Rugby, their mentality is they're just tough guys. Then they love that physicality, that side of the game. So I can't really put it down to 3 people, but God, you could put any South African player in those positions. Some big South African forwards that I've played against. It's tough. Tough when you're not a big person yourself and you have to tackle these guys. So I'd say some South African forwards.